How's it, punters? Welcome back to the BSB Podcast World Cup Special Part 2. We're going to be taking a look at some of the results over the weekend and Monday, Tuesday, and then we're going to be previewing some of the upcoming games up until next week. And we're also going to start off with a quick chat about some of the betting specials that are available at South African betting sites during the World Cup that you guys might want to take advantage of. With me, as always, is Simon. Simon, I'm not going to say it's been a cracking start to the World Cup. The World Cup's very controversial. We're going to keep out of the politics mostly. I think we both feel the same way. Not too keen on Qatar hosting it, but let's start off with the the World Cup betting specials that we've been seeing. Let's start off with the Betway one, where you can win up to 10 million rand in their predictor game.
Yeah, so we have a sort of combination really of sort of deposit bonuses, free bets, and predictor games available. So as you mentioned, the Betway World Cup predictor game, nice prize there of 100,000 rand every day for making your match day predictions. So yeah, it kind of works in a very similar way to some previous sort of renditions of these kind of predictor games, where you log in and you get given a pre-selected number of fixtures, and you'll have to predict in this case for the first week was the correct score of a number of different games, and then depending on how many you get right, you could qualify for a cash prize.
And you can also win an EPL experience for two to go watch Premier League game live, which I think is very, very cool.
Yeah, so that's right. So how it works though is actually if you place a cash bet, then you'll get an extra entry. So your first few entries where you predict the score is free. You just have to opt in. You click the opt in button on the promotions page, make your predictions, and then if you place a cash bet, I think it's 10 rand or more if I remember correctly.
It's like a buck or more, isn't it?
Is it 1 rand or more? Oh, I think it is. It's actually basically any size bet because it's 20. It's 20.
Okay.
No, never mind. Sorry, it is one. It is 1 rand. I'm looking at the wrong promo.
Betway for the people. So 1
rand. So place a bet of 1 rand, and then you'll get extra entries into the draw, and then you'll have the opportunity then to win that EPL experience at the end. So it's quite nice. You can kind of play for free, or spend some money by betting and have a chance to win bigger prizes, more cash, and obviously that EPL experience.
Yeah, and then Lulabet have a 5 million rand similar promotion that's got 5 million bucks up for grabs in their predictor game, and then there's a few other specials from Hollywood Bets. You've got a 15% deposit match. So lots of betting sites are running lots of interesting promotions. We've posted them up on Betting Guide and on Best Sports Betting, so go check them out if you
I
think more.
I think one worth mentioning quickly before we move on is that those Lulabet mega boosts, which are
incredible,
quite substantial. Yeah, so you'll get the standard boost is odds of 7.5, but you'll get them on something that would normally have odds of say 1.2. Like for instance Brazil to beat Serbia. So a very, very, very good chance of that happening, and then you're getting your maximum bet is only 20 rand, but it's almost, you could almost consider that free money. It's a very, very, very good chance of winning, and at hugely boosted odds. You're not saying not just a tiny bit more winnings. You're getting
it is a mega boost.
So up to 20, 25 times the normal payout on a bet. And these specials, these mega boost specials do change almost daily. So keep an eye on the Lulabet sites and see what's available.
The ones that are running at the moment is Belgium to beat Canada at 7.5, and on Betway the odds are 1.55, and Brazil to beat Serbia also 7.5, and also 1.51 on Betway. Not that I'm comparing the odds, but just so you have an idea of how much these have been boosted by. But anyway, let's get into the opening of the World Cup. I didn't watch the opening ceremony. I wasn't interested. I caught some highlights. It looked like Aladdin going on or something like that. Glad I didn't watch it. Like I said, we're not going to get into the politics. And then I did watch the opening match, and wow, Simon Qatar looked absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, it wasn't the most encouraging performance from the host, was it?
It was the first time the hosts have ever lost the opening game of a World Cup.
Yes, I was just about to say that. That was a very interesting stat, which I found. I heard on the day. And I find that, if you think about all the World Cups, and we've had stronger hosts than Qatar in the past, of course, but to think that they've never ever lost the opening game is quite something. So unfortunately, not a good duck to break for Qatar there.
No, and that keeper was playing Flappy Bird or something. I don't know what he was doing. Ecuador could have really run away with that one. I don't even think Qatar had a shot on target or something like that during the whole match.
Yeah, I know it wasn't the most encouraging performance, but hopefully they can put in a better performance in their second match this week.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they're gonna end this World Cup without a goal. To be honest, if that's that will be my prediction. I did take a bet of a goal to be scored in every World Cup game. Unfortunately, that one died off pretty quickly.
Mm.
But let's jump into some more of the results. We'll get to some of the big ones soon. England smashing Iran 6-2. I thought Iran were going to be a lot more competitive. They put up a good show, to be honest. Their defense wasn't good, but they did manage to get 2 goals past England. A little bit
Yeah,
concerning for the English there, to be honest.
it was a bit. Yeah, I mean, it was great to see Jude Bellingham score his debut World Cup goal, and then the kind of floodgates opened, and obviously, as you said, not the best defense from England with Gareth Southgate's team conceding 2 goals, which I think, I mean, he did mention after the match, kind of not good enough there. Um, but I mean, look, the fact is England were in full flow, moving the ball easily up the field, a lot of confidence. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they fare against a more dynamic team like
Mm.
the US. But
Mm.
I do have a feeling that England are gonna win that quite
Yeah, I
comfortably.
think they're going to romp the group quite easily, to be honest. I'm especially unimpressed with Wales, but I do like Saka to actually be top scorer at the World Cup, and I'm not sure if there's any new odds, but I think it should be about 15, 16 to 1. And now that there's been a couple other players who have scored a brace as well, I think he's gonna kind of lengthen a bit more. I really like that bet. He was solid in the Euros. He's just looking so class. Unfortunately, he's not on penalties. That's going to be Kane. But yeah, I do fancy him. I will be having a punt on that. Then, Simon, we had Netherlands versus Senegal. I think the Senegalese put in a pretty good shift. Unfortunately, some injuries and some late goals sunk them in the end against a Netherlands side that doesn't look very dangerous going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously the Dutch leaving it very late there, as you said, in the second half to put away the current AFCON champions in Senegal. Actually, this is one of the few games that I missed watching live, so I can't speak about much that happened sort of on the field. But just a bit disappointed, obviously, that our best chance of a qualifier, had a loss to their name already. But yeah, I think the Dutch, from what I've read, really kind of underperformed there. So it'll be interesting to see how the group shapes up going forward, especially them being the strong favourites
So
to
look,
to win.
they've got a really good defense, a really good midfield, but it's just up front
Mm.
that they're just lacking that kind of class finishing that the Dutch teams in the past have
Robert
had.
van Persie.
Van Persie, Bergkamp, like, and Van
Uh,
Nistelrooy, like, look, these are really old
uh,
players, but
yeah.
they're just missing that touch of class up front, and I think it's going to cost them against some of the bigger sides. But we'll see what happens. And then we had the USA in a 1-1 draw. Wales quite lucky to pick up the draw there with that Gareth Bale penalty at the end of the match.
Yeah, I mean, the USA certainly had the better of Wales in the first half, and they actually scuffed quite a few chances there to go quite far ahead. But the Welsh came back fighting in the second
Mm.
half. I mean, they had a much better performance. It was much more even, and ultimately frustrated the Americans. I mean, that foul that came on Gareth Bale, you could see it was a build up of the Americans getting frustrated, and obviously then Gareth Bale slotting the penalty home to level the score. But I suppose both teams wouldn't really be disappointed if you offered them a 1-1 draw before the
Yeah,
match.
I think I even picked that one as a 1-1. It
Yeah.
screamed 1-1. So
So I think USA might be a little disappointed that they didn't end up on top, considering they dominated, especially the first half in the beginning. But I think if you offered them a point each before the match, they'd happily take it. So kind of no harm done, I don't think.
yeah, yeah. Then let's get into the big one. Yesterday's match: Argentina
Mm.
going down 2-1 to Saudi Arabia. Huge upset there. I think everyone's now down on Argentina. I'm not quite in that camp just yet. I don't know if you watched that match, Simon.
I did, yes. Yeah. Look,
Three
obviously,
three offside goals from Argentina, and some of them were extremely tight.
yes. I mean, we've seen a lot of tight calls in this first couple of days of the World Cup. We really have, and it's great to see the new technology. And I mean, I'm enjoying the ball out of possession as well. That sort of stat where if it's not in either team's position, there's kind of that number in between where it's like it's not actually under the control of either team. It's quite interesting. But anyway, but aside from that, there have been some tight calls. Look, I mean, I think that the big thing here is obviously it being Messi's last World Cup. This is his last chance to obviously lift the trophy. So not the best start for Argentina. I mean, if you look at the odds, a 93% chance of winning that match. So, I mean, as close to a bank as you can ever
Yeah.
get, really.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, also, Argentina hadn't lost in 36 games, which is actually one
3 years.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years of international football, and actually one short of the overall international record, which I'm not, I can't recall which team set that record, but I mean, really, really incredible. So to obviously to break that duck against a team like Saudi Arabia is quite a shock, and it just kind of shows, I guess, what a cruel and fickle sport football can be sometimes.
Yeah, and some
But
some class finishing from Saudi in that game. They had one or two chances and they buried them. I mean, you look at the possession stats. 70% possession for Argentina. Saudi had 3 shots, literally 3 shots the entire game, 2 on target, and that resulted in 2 goals.
yeah, absolutely. Just 100% conversion rate on those chances, which is obviously going to be it's going to be hard to beat. I mean, in a game where the average goals is about 2.5 on average, it's kind of, if you're going to convert two of your only chances, you're going to play well against, you're going to get good results against most teams. But obviously that's not something that's necessarily sustainable. I agree with you. I don't think Argentina, you can certainly not write them off. So yeah, it's certainly going to put a new, put this group into new life. But we'll see how we go
Yeah,
from
it,
here.
it does make it interesting, but I think that the draw between Denmark and was it Mexico and Poland,
Mm,
it was 0-0. I think that also kind of plays into Argentina's hands in the sense that
yeah.
they can still top the group with 6 points
Yes.
if they go and beat both of those sides. So yeah, I still think they're going to top the group, and yes, don't panic just yet. I still think that Argentina put in a pretty decent display. They dominated most of the game. It's kind of like watching Man City dominate and scoring to 2 sucker punches.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be happening again anytime soon. I think there's going to be lots of lessons learned from that game for them
Mm,
as well. But they
sure.
still look fairly impressive. It was just a couple of calls didn't go their way. That keeper was really playing well as well. The Saudi keeper, he was not messing around. And yeah, anyway, so let's jump into the Denmark Tunisia. Not too much to say about that one. Really fancy Denmark to pick up the win there. They didn't. A bit of a dull 0-0 draw.
Mm,
Was the first 0-0 of the tournament, and then that was followed up by Mexico Poland also 0-0, where the Mexican keeper was I don't know, maybe Donald Trump should look at hiring him for the border wall or something like that, because he's letting nothing through, that guy. you know, um, what a performance he put in.
yeah. No, it was very good. I must say it was a very good. I really enjoyed the vibe at that game, and there
Mm,
was sort of more. There was more Mexican support than there was for Poland, but it just there was a very, very nice buzz around that game, and if that was a normal draw, actually, she really enjoyed watching that
yes,
one.
yes, and Lewandowski missed a
Entertaining.
penalty, a really poorly
Mm,
taken penalty as well. So yeah, lots of chances for Poland. I feel like Poland had the edge in that game, probably should have won it. But yeah, it is what it is, and it's interesting to see what's going to happen with that group after that draw. And then we had France against Australia. I watched that one. Australia, scored that early goal, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, the World Cup champions are going out, just like Italy, just like Germany, etc., etc." And France just said, "Nope, we're going to go into our second gear, and we're going to put 4 past you." Really, really good performance. Giroud with the brace there at what, like 36, 37 years old.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, impressive. I mean, obviously, aside missing Benzema, Pogba, Kante, Varane, just to name a few.
yeah,
Um,
such a
so
talented squad that.
yeah, no, look, but I still think in the long run that is going to hurt them. And I'm not saying that's obviously fantastic to come back from a goal down and smash the Socceroos, but I do think that missing all those players over
In the course
seven,
of the
eight
tournament.
matches, ten
Yeah.
matches, it's gonna take its toll on them. So yeah, when we go into our picks just now, I'll talk to that
I
a
mean,
bit more.
just looking at the stats of that game, France had 22 shots on target. Oh, 22 shots rather.
Mm,
That's a lot. It really
it
is a
is,
lot. And I was in no doubt that they were going to come back from that 1-0 because they were just
yeah,
playing so well. It was just a matter of time, and they missed so many chances as well. So it's kind of like
yeah,
a training game for them. So yeah, they're looking really good going forward. But then again, it was Australia. The same with England, Iran. It was Iran that they beat. I'm not going to read too much into it. But yeah, let's jump into the upcoming fixtures, Simon.
Yeah.
We've got today. We've got Morocco taking on Croatia. I like Croatia there, 2.16. I think that's a pretty good price, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting one to watch. I'm not quite sure how I feel about where the odds are out there. I think
Another
they look about
nil-nil.
right to me. What's that? Another
Another
nil-nil?
nil-nil.
Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. I mean, look, Croatia, exciting team, and also it's kind of always got to get up for international games. I'm not quite sure. I don't know enough about the Morocco team, I think, to have to really have an opinion there. But yeah, I think it'll be an interesting one to watch nonetheless. Not quite sure where I'll tack that from a betting perspective, however.
Yeah, I think unders there would be the call for me. It's kind of like a 1-0 Croatia, 2-0 kind of vibe, 1-1 maybe, even 0-0. So
Yeah.
I think I'll go with under 2.5 or 1.6 for our little accumulator for this week. And then we've got Germany taking on Japan. The Mannschaft 1.45 against Japan 6.8. I can't look past Germany in this one.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think both. This is, this game and the next one with Spain against Costa Rica. I think both Germany and Spain will kind of be looking at not as a warm up because they obviously want to pick up maximum points, but I think it's going to be very much a tester, especially for punters, to kind of see where they're going to go with the Spain Germany game, which is obviously a much harder one to call. So it's going to be a
Mm.
very good acid test, I think, for both these teams to kind of see where they're at, since qualifying for the World Cup. But yeah, look, I mean, you got to expect that both Germany and Spain will walk away with wins here. But yeah, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't look if something happens like we had in the Argentina game, then it happens, and whatever. But I think those are two ones to slap into any sort of accumulator that you're putting together. Germany are very solid. Costa Rica have they've regressed since their good performance. When was it, 2018 or 2014 or whatever
Mm,
it was? I don't. They're not the same
two World
side.
Cups ago, yeah.
Yeah, not the same side anymore. And yeah, that's where I'm going. And then we have Belgium taking on Canada, and you can, as I said, we can get 7.5 on Belgium to beat Canada over on Lulabet. But they're 1.55 everywhere else, and Canada's got some decent players in that side. And I'm not gonna bash them too much, but this is a team that Belgium really should be brushing aside.
I agree. I agree. And to be honest, I think that if Belgium had actually performed to their talent pool, according
Oh,
to what sort of the players out on paper, I think
World
this
Cup
price would be
champions.
much smaller. So I think it's just kind of this price on Belgium actually goes to show that they haven't really performed as expected on the international stage, and it kind of might just be a gift. I mean, if this is the tournament that they finally actually start performing to their potential, this might look like these odds of 1.55 might actually look a bit of a joke. Um, so yeah, I think to be honest, I'd rather put Belgium in an accumulator than I would
Germany.
France and Germany.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, not France and Germany, Germany and Spain. That's just my opinion, but yeah, I think they've got a very very good chance of winning this one.
Yeah, that's, I completely agree. I think Belgium to score over 1.5 goals as well. Let's see what the
Mm.
odds are on that one. I think they'll put a couple past Canada. See if I can find some nice combos here. Here we go. Belgium and over 1.5 goals is 1.73. I think that's a solid one. I think I'm going to take that instead of a Belgium straight win.
Mm.
So I'll put that into the accumulator, 1.73. Pretty good price. Then on the 24th, we have Switzerland taking on Cameroon. I really fancy the Swiss in this World Cup. Not to, go too far, but I think they are a very, very solid side. Really good unit. Excellent team. 1.77 against Cameroon, I think, is a really good price. I don't think that they're going to run away with anything here. I think it'll be another kind of 1-0 prediction from me, but I do think the Swiss are going to have more than enough to get past Cameroon. And if you aren't sure, you can always take them on the draw no bets for your accumulated like 1.29.
Yeah, quite different styles of football, yeah, for sure. Switzerland being more compact, Cameroon kind of long, over the top passing and so on. So it should be quite an interesting meet of styles, we say. Yeah, I don't know. I think that 1.77 on Switzerland looks about right for me. I'm not jumping into them there, but I'm certainly keen on watching that one.
And then we have Uruguay taking on Korea as well on the 24th. That's Korea, I don't want to disrespect them. That's they've got Sun playing there. They've got a pretty decent side. Look, Uruguay are almost a contender this World Cup. But I just haven't watched enough of either side, and I'm a little bit wary about backing Uruguay there against a somewhat unpredictable Korea side. If you follow my drift, you know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in terms of Uruguay, you got players like Suarez and Cavani kind of reaching the expiry date. So it's nice to see, Nunez, obviously of Liverpool, and Valverde, who plays for Real Madrid, kind of coming up the ranks in the national side, kind of, there to support, if not replace, because they're still
Mm.
around, but support those older players. So I think Uruguay has a new, sort of talent pool that they can draw from. But yeah, it's look. I think they've absolutely got to be favourites there. But I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure whether they've got enough to sort of win on a handicap or anything like that.
Mm.
So I wouldn't be necessarily be rushing to back Uruguay there. But yeah, that's also one that I'm very interested to watch. But I'm not quite sure where to go from a betting perspective.
And then Portugal versus Ghana. Cristiano Ronaldo, who's now leaving Man United. The news broke this
Mm,
morning. That oak is just finds himself embroiled in drama at the moment. He just can't stay away from it.
yeah.
1.39, 1.4 to beat Ghana. I think that's pretty solid. I don't see the
Mm,
Portuguese losing this one. It's their World Cup opener. Ronaldo's going to have a proper fire in his belly. I'm sure there's going to be lots of drama in the dressing room, but that
mm,
Portuguese side is just packed with talent. And look, Ghana's an
it
African
is.
side. They've traditionally done pretty decently in World Cups, but I think this is a Portuguese team out to prove a point.
Sure. I
And
mean, if you mentioned obviously, Ronaldo being, I mean, highly volatile and actually quite unpredictable these days, which is kind of exactly the opposite of what he used to be. He used to be someone you could rely on. This you just never know what's going to happen with him. But I mean, you look at that Portuguese squad. I mean,
Bruno
you got
Fernandes, gosh, what a player!
Bruno Fernandes. I can't stand him, but he's a very good
Yeah,
player.
yeah, he's really
Cancelo. You've got Bernardo Silva. You got Dalot. I mean, you've
Man,
really
Man
got.
City light almost.
Exactly, absolutely, yeah. It is. It's a side that's oozing with talent. Then you obviously add to the fact that Portugal really tend to play very well in international competition,
Yeah,
Euros
they
and
tend to
World Cups.
overperform as well. Like
Mm,
they'll grind out these wins if they come up against any side, even if it's a big side. You can't you don't want to go against them because they're just one of those sides that will grind out that 1-0 win.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So I mean, and I'm really, really looking forward to their match against Uruguay, which comes later in the
Mm.
week. Which I think that should obviously be a sterner test than Ghana. But yeah, Portugal definitely one to watch for me.
Then Brazil, Serbia, Brazil's opener against Serbia. It's 1.5. I'm surprised that Brazil 1.5 for this match. I think that's somewhat generous from the bookies, to be honest, for the World Cup favorites. I mean,
Mm.
you can probably bet Brazil at each odd and get a better payout than you would if you back them for the outright. In every single
Yeah,
match. I mean, you got 1.48
absolutely.
against Switzerland. You already doubled up your money at that point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. I mean, just talking about what you're mentioning now, it's the margin on the outrights of the bookies is quite,
Oh,
it's quite inhibiting.
it is, and it's also quite shocking to see some bookies have Brazil at 3.75. I mean, that's just terrible. Like,
Yeah,
it's the
you
lowest I've
absolutely
seen.
just got to just bet. I mean, if you fancy Brazil, rather just bet them in every match and take all your winnings and lump them to the next bet, because by the time they get to the semis, you'll have already made more money, I'm sure.
Mm. But yeah,
Um,
I fancy them.
anyway,
Yeah, I even fancy them on a handicap. I think there's going to be goals in that one. Brazil to score at least two.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right there. I think that I mean it does show you that the bookies are certainly giving Serbia some respect. I don't know, as you say, whether it's due or not, but 1.51 is not a small prize.
No, especially on Brazil. It's just it's too hard to ignore. It's one to slap into our speculative accumulator, which is already looking pretty long odds. And then we have on the 25th we've got Wales taking on Iran. We've seen both of these two teams play. I, I, I don't know. I think Wales would take this one, but this one also screams like another draw to me.
I
Like,
think so as well. I think it, especially. I mean, look, I think I think I don't know. I'm of the opinion that I don't think Iran necessarily underperformed against England. I thought England were just pretty darn good actually, and
And clinical.
their def- despite that despite their defensive woes, I mean, yes, you don't want to concede 2 goals against anyone really, but I think Iran will have enough to get a point in this. I do. So I think a draw is the right result here in this Wales Iran match.
And then the banker of the week, Simon, is Qatar versus Senegal. I mean, Senegal going to win this one, 1.65. I'm pretty shocked at that price. They put in a really good shift, as I mentioned earlier, against the Netherlands. Look, they've got a couple
Yeah.
injuries, but wow, the team is just night and day. Qatar, I don't know what they're going to do in this match. Like worst case scenario, this ends up as a normal draw or something. But I think Senegal get on the score sheet. They get on comfortably. 1.65
Yeah.
is a bit of a gift, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a nice price. I mean, in terms of value, I think out of these favorites, to be honest, I like Senegal and Belgium probably the best. Just in terms of value, I think I think that they are giving them a little bit more respect because they are the hosts. But I mean, based on what we saw in on the first day against Ecuador, I think Senegal's a safe bet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because Qatar were just nowhere in that game. And Senegal, like I said, didn't play badly at all against Netherlands. It was a tight game. It took until the end. And
yeah,
I'm interested to see what the Netherlands are going to do to Qatar in a couple of weeks' time, because I think that could be a bit of a bloodbath, even with their lack of finishing up front. Then we have
right.
Netherlands, Ecuador. I think that's going to be an interesting one. Look, Ecuador scored 2 goals. They probably could have had more against Qatar. But I think Netherlands are going to have too much for them. Although, as I mentioned, they are struggling up front a bit. 1.84 is a very, very attractive price on Netherlands, who've looked, they've beaten who I think is the contender for the second spot in the group, which is Senegal.
Mm.
So I'm a little bit surprised to see that for
Yeah,
1.84.
the problem I have with this one is that because Qatar was so bad, I almost don't have a good enough feel on Ecuador.
Yes.
I feel like I need another match from them to kind of see where they're at because they had such easy opponents. So I'm kind of like I'm a bit wary to back this one, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I don't think they're gonna do like I don't even think Ecuador will score against the Netherlands. To be honest, that defense just
Mm,
looks so solid. And if you look at the goals that Qatar conceded, they were mistakes. They weren't
cool.
brilliant moves or anything like that. It was all from defending, like I want to call it naivety.
Yeah.
Um, and they're not going to find that against the Netherlands. The Netherlands are very strong defensively. So I'm very tempted by that 1.84. I think I'm going to sit and think about that one for a bit longer. Maybe a single bet on that, or we'll wait for some more team news.
Mm,
But yeah, moving on. Also on the 25th, we have England taking on USA. I'm quite looking forward to that one. I think USA are an up
yes.
and coming like power in football. Give them 20, 30 years, and I think they'll be dominating if the sport gets popular there. But 1.59, 1.6 on England to beat USA. They should beat them. Both teams to score maybe.
Mm.
It's gonna be quite an interesting match to watch, I think, because USA just are a good team, but they don't have the talent available to them that England have.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as I said, despite conceding 2 goals, I must say I was impressed by what I saw from England. Um, and I do think that they will certainly be more wary defensively because they're not going to feel that, like when they played against Iran, that they can just outscore them. So I think they will be a little bit more defensive minded, England. So yeah, I just to me this is like a 2-0 game.
Mm.
I feel like I actually feel England can cover the handicap here. I like the Asian handicap, which then gives you that little bit of a safety net where you know, if they win by one, you get your stake back, and if they win by two, you win. I like that, and that's at 1.96, which is just kind of the perfect
Ooh,
sort of
yeah.
price for me, I think. So I think I'm going to go with England there and just accept that USA, sure, up and coming, fairly strong team, but I think England are gonna have far too much for them. So I'm kind of banking on a sort of 2-0 game here. England -1 on the Asian 1.96. That'll be my bet there.
All right, yeah. Look, I fancy England to get a result, but I'm not buying into the hype just yet. I think the USA is going to be
Mm.
a proper test for them.
Yeah.
Look, it's still quite a gap in quality, but I think they'll have much more of a challenge than they did against Iran. Tunisia, Australia. I don't think we're too bothered about that one. Probably like a 0-0 under 2.5 kind of game, in my opinion. Poland, Saudi Arabia. 1.81 on Poland there is pretty juicy against Saudi Arabia, and I'm not reading too much into their win over Argentina. Like I said,
Not drinking the Saudi Kool-Aid, are you?
no, I'm not. No credit to them. They put in a good performance, but
Yeah.
like, are they going to do it twice in a row? I don't think so.
I mean,
think,
surely they can just retire now. They beat Argentina. They can
yeah,
just be like,
yeah.
yeah,
It's probably their best World Cup points tally that they've ever had as well. I'm not sure
yeah,
on the actual stat behind that, but
yeah.
what more could they really want from this World Cup? Maybe to qualify, but they got to beat Poland and Mexico, or at least look, they'll probably get a draw against one of those two if they're lucky, and then they might pull a South Africa and go out on goal difference or fair play or whatever it is. It would be very unfortunate, but I think it would be a good thing for the tournaments, because we want
Yes.
the quality sides in the knockout stages. But Poland there at
Absolutely.
1.81 does appeal. It really does. They did well, Poland, against Mexico. They should have won that game. I think they'll have no problem putting away Saudi Arabia. 1.81 is a great price. You can get the draw no bet at 1.33. Not amazing, but I'll put that in the accumulator just to have that little safety net of in case a draw somehow does happen. And then we have France versus Denmark. What are your thoughts on that one? France are 1.87. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it sounds like you're implying that that's a fairly big price for France, and I must say, despite Denmark drawing to Tunisia, I can't ignore the fact that this is basically a good French side, but missing so many players. And yes, this might only really affect them later on in the tournament if they progress. But I must say, especially now that Denmark didn't beat Tunisia and the odds have got even better, I'm going to take a double chance on the Danes at 1.91.
Ooh.
It's a risky one, but I just
I'm
think
on the other side in this one.
cool. Well, that's good. Well, that'll be a nice one for us to go head to head on. But
Yes.
I just think that that France are, yeah, sure, they might have beaten Australia 4-1, but I just think without their superstars, they've got to be bet against. So I'm going to go with Denmark. Then I think Denmark can certainly improve their performance.
Yeah.
Again, their performance against Tunisia. So I like that. The odds look very, very nice to me there. 1.91 Denmark double
Yeah,
chance.
no, I mean, in our preview, I did say that Denmark are a team to watch. That don't underestimate them. I'm just
Mm.
not sure. They should be going through second in the group, but I'm just not sure that they're going to have what it takes to beat this French side that's still kind of just messing around. I mean, they haven't even hit full stride yet.
Mm.
But anyway, one game's just not enough for me to make a call on that one. But I do find that 1.87 very attractive. So we'll go for a head-to-head on that one,
Yeah.
Simon. I'll be going with Le Bleu, and you'll be going with the Danes, and we'll come back next week and the winner can have the bragging rights for that one. Argentina, Mexico, 1.59 on Argentina. These sides are very familiar with each other. They've played, they're South America, almost neighbors. I don't want to quite say that, but very familiar sides.
Yeah.
Argentina are going to win this one. If they don't, then they're out. If they pick up a draw here, Argentina have to win the next two games.
They do. They absolutely do. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, this is just, they can't falter here. So you would just think that look, I mean, Mexico can certainly be quite a resilient team, but I think Argentina are gonna.
Yeah,
I think This is a sort of half time, full time for me. They'll probably
yeah,
get out the blocks early and just hold on to a lead. I think.
yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at some of the heads-to-heads, and they've played a couple times over the last few years. Obviously, we had a COVID in between, but the last time that Mexico managed a result against them was in 2011. And I think that was like the Pacific Asian Games, or I don't know, some bizarre tournament or something like that. And that was the only time that they beaten them. So, like in recent history, that is, in
Mm,
2019 Argentina won 4-0. 2018 it was 2-0. Obviously, this is very different Argentine side, but they just seem to be quite comfortable picking up wins against Mexico. And after Mexico's performance the other day against Poland, I can't not back Argentina here.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm writing off that Saudi loss as a once-off. If I'm wrong, then this game's going to be the kind of deciding factor there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, and then we have Japan, Costa Rica. We haven't seen these sides play, so we're now kind of going into what ifs. So we're not going to really
Yes.
chat about that one. I think
Yeah.
Belgium, Morocco. I think we'll. Belgium should win that one as well. I think that's also a bit of a banker in that sense. But we haven't seen them play. We're not going to chat too much about that. Croatia, Canada. Let's go to the big one of the weekend. It's going to be Spain against Germany. And now, look, we haven't seen either of these sides play yet. The
But
bookmakers
it's
can't
too
separate
juicy
them.
not to talk about.
Yeah. It's the big match. It's
Yeah.
the one we all want to see. Unfortunately, it's the one that I'm going to miss. I'm a bit bummed about it. I'm going to be
Dear.
away.
Ah.
But yeah, I'm quite interested to see who comes out on top, because this is going to decide, in my opinion. Look, as I said, they haven't played, but it's going to decide the person that's going to go through, or the side that's going to go through in that pole position.
Yeah, and I mean, Spain have actually struggled to find success at the World Cup for quite a while now. They haven't actually progressed past the round of 16 for the last two. So
Since the
obviously they
death of Tiki Taka, it's been been a struggle
yeah,
for
well,
them.
they came to South Africa and won the World Cup. But since then, they haven't progressed past the round of 16, and they've been, amongst the top 3 or 4 favorites in every tournament. But I mean, sure, like what a roster! Torres, Pedri, Morata, Laporta. I mean, among many others. And then on the other side, you obviously have a hugely talented German side, led by arguably, I think, the best captain in football, Thomas Muller. You've got
Who just
Manuel
doesn't
Neuer.
seem to age, that guy. Hey, I
He
mean,
doesn't.
gosh.
He really doesn't. You've obviously got Manuel Neuer. I mean, they say, the best football teams are built from the back. I mean, Neuer doesn't really get better than that. Obviously, you've got Leroy Sané, Timo Werner, Rudiger. So really, really, I'm not surprised that the bookies are finding it hard to separate these two sides. 2.55 or roundabouts on Spain. So Spain are very, very, very marginal favorites. But yeah, I mean, as much as I'm looking forward to this one, I don't have a strong bet. But if I had to take my chances, I'm going to take a halftime draw, full-time Spain at odds of 6.2.
I think I'm gonna go with the draw for this one. I can't separate them. Obviously, we haven't seen them play. I do fancy Spain, but Germans in a World Cup. It also depends what happens in the other game. If one of these two get upset or pick up a draw, I think that could change things
Yes.
quite a lot for this game.
Yes. Good.
So I'm gonna go with a draw here. I think that's kind of obvious. The most obvious outcome for me. I think it's going to be a score draw as well, 1-1. Let's just see what the odds are available on that.
Yeah, so the overs is pretty much over under 2.5 is they're both at about 1.9. So the bookies are kind of unsure where this one's going in terms of goals, but most World Cup games are tipped towards the unders. So most games are expected to go under 2.5. This one, the bookies are not quite sure. It's sort of expected to have more goals than the average game, which I don't know. I don't really know what to make of that. I'm not sure whether I agree or disagree. Because they're basically saying that the attacks are stronger than the defenses on these two sides. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This one could have goals.
And yeah, I think that's where we're going to wrap up the coverage, because we don't want to get too much into the matches next week. I think we'll have a podcast a little bit earlier, because we'll have a lot of matches then to discuss. We'll have a lot more team form and stuff to chat about, and we also have some nice juicy games coming up that we'll want to break down.
And hopefully some more promotions, because
Yes.
bookmakers have been a little slow on that.
They
So
have.
we didn't mention all of them at the beginning of the podcast, but you can head over to either Best Sports Betting or Betting Guide. Just punch in Qatar there or World Cup, and you'll find a list of promotions. You'll also be able to find on the menus of the site, you'll be able to find the various promotions. But we haven't chatted about all of them. But to be honest, at the moment, there aren't as many as we'd like to talk about. So hopefully in the coming days and weeks, there'll be more juicy offers to take advantage of for punters who want to play on the World Cup.
Right, let me run through this accumulator that I've put together. You're getting 40.51, so you're getting a huge return on this one. Actually 40.58 if you are on BetBet, because you're getting that nice little win boost. I've got Germany to beat Japan. I've got Spain to beat Costa Rica. I've got Switzerland draw no bet against Cameroon. Portugal to beat Ghana. Brazil to beat Serbia. Belgium to beat Canada. Senegal to beat Qatar. England to beat the USA, Poland draw no bet against Saudi Arabia, a little bit of a safety one there, and then Argentina to beat Mexico. And your 1 rand is going to return 43 rand 58. So I'll put a cheeky 10 rand on that one. I'll probably be taking a bit more on when I take my actual bets. But what's your bet of the week, Simon?
Sure. Okay. So as much as I'm kind of just, I love the Denmark one, but it's more just, I feel like it'll be a sneaky bet, and that's why I like it. I'm not hugely confident in it, but I actually think my bet, and it's a short odds, but my banker would probably be Belgium, and but my a bet that's at the right odds that I think I would like to tip up is England -1 against USA on the Asian handicap at odds of 1.96. But I think if the banker would be Belgium, and England -1 on the Asian handicap at 1.96 would be the longer odds bet that I
Okay,
like.
Simon back in England to pick up a comfortable win against the USA. I'm going with Belgium and Brazil in a double. I think it's great value there, getting 2.4 for Brazil to beat Serbia and Belgium to beat Canada. I think we both agree that Belgium's a really good pick there. I'm tempted to throw in Germany and Spain, but I'm going to stay away from those. You don't want to put too many into your kind of bigger bets. So that's going to be my bet of the week. And then, Simon, we'll see who's going to be the winner with France to beat Denmark or Denmark
Yeah.
to pick up a result. It's probably going to be a draw, and then you're going to get some reduced bragging rights.
Yeah, I've
Like
got two outcomes covered at least. Yeah.
yeah, you're sneaky. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning into this podcast. We'll be back probably Monday with the next one, taking a look at the games. Hope you're enjoying it. Give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.